Welcome to your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits, and I let you know how they're going to impact your natal sun. Let me tell you how I do that, and then let me tell you how this video is organized. So, how do I tell the energies that are impacting your natal sun? I use astrology. That's how I do it. And the foundation of astrology is geometry. It's math. So it's what angles are forming to your natal sun based on where the other planets are in relation to where your natal sun is in the chart. So the zodiac wheel has 360 degrees. It's a wheel, it's a circle. And each zodiac sign occupies 30 degrees on that circle because 360 divided by 12 is 30 degrees. So somewhere on that zodiac wheel, without looking at your actual natal chart, I know that if you were born in Leo season, then your sun is somewhere located within the zodiac sign of Leo. And based on your birthday, I can estimate about which degree it's located around. So I can tell you based on those angles or aspects that are forming to your sun, how your natal sun is going to be impacted for that week. Now, I choose your natal sun because it really does provide sort of the broad strokes for your life. And so it gives me the most general reading for you and the energies or situations that you're going to be experiencing. This is very different from traditional horoscopes because traditional horoscopes always start from the first house position. And there's really no way that as general reading or knowing your birth date, you can tell where your first house is because your first house is based on your rising sign, not your sun sign. Your birth date is your sun sign. So to create the most effective general reading, I know most people don't know their rising sign. I'm going to use the birth date and the general location on that zodiac wheel that birth date lets me know that natal sun is located. And based on that, I'm going to let you know what is impacting your natal sun this week. I use the tools, the astrologer tools of the decans. Now, a decan is just a group of 10 degrees. And because each zodiac sign has a total of 30 degrees, each zodiac sign has a total of 3 decans. Now, the reason why we divide it into groups of 10 is because 10 is that magic number that makes or breaks an aspect. If it goes too far under or too far over, it's a different aspect. So it's really that 10-degree toggle point that is very important for telling what aspect is forming to your natal sun. Now, if you've watched these videos before, what I usually do with the decans is every zodiac sign, I end up repeating what the decan is and what birth dates it relates to. Instead, if you'll bear with me, I'm just going to go through that really quickly up front so that I can not have to repeat them in the zodiac signs, but you'll be able to know. So the first decan of every zodiac sign goes from 0 to 9 degrees because a zodiac sign doesn't start at 1 degree. It starts at 0 degrees, and 0 degrees counts as a degree. So it goes from 0 to 29 degrees, and counting that 0, you have a total of 30 degrees. So the first decan is always from 0 to 9 degrees. The second decan is always from 10 to 19 degrees. And the third decan is always from 20 to 29 degrees. So now you know, if you've seen your chart, if your natal sun falls in one of those spans, you'll know exactly which decan it falls in. For those of you who just know your birth date, that's fine. But I'm going to go over real quickly the general birth date span so that you know what birth date ranges correlate to which decans. So usually if you're born at the end of the if you're born in the beginning of the zodiac sign, it's going to be from the 22nd of one month through the 30th or the 1st of the next month. So if your birth date, for example, is June 22nd, then you know that you're either a Gemini 3 or you're a Cancer 1. And Cancer 1 would go all the way from June 22nd through July 1st. Now, with the first decan, those zodiac signs of those months with only, some months have 31 days, some months have 30. Those months with only 30 days, what I do is I sort of estimate it right into the next month. So I say, for example, Decan 1, Cancer 1 would be from June 22nd through July 1st. Now that's just a range, and that will toggle based on the year, but it's an estimate. The most accurate is to know where your natal sun is actually located by drawing up a natal chart. And you can absolutely do this for free online. Just Google free natal chart or free birth chart astrology, and there's so many websites that do it for you for free, and you'll be able to know that degree. That's the most accurate. But if your birth date is located more between, say, the 1st and the 11th of every month, of that zodiac sign of the month, say July 1st to July 11th, you're going to be the 2s, the second decan. And if your birth date is located somewhere between the 12th and up through the 22nd, you're going to be a 3, a decan 3. Now, of course, that changes, especially with Aquarius and Pisces, because February is a very shortened month. So you're going to have those, but you're going to have those kind of estimates, so I don't have to keep reiterating them every frickin' time, just so that you know. It usually goes from the 22nd through the 31st or 1st. That's the first decan. The 1st or 2nd through the 11th, that's the second decan. And the 12th through the 22nd, that's the third decan. So you know about if where your birth dates are placed in your respective months, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. Let's get into the big stuff, shall we? So what I'm going to do here is just go over the general energies for this week, guys. So this is the week of December 10th through the 16th of 2023. So that you'll know the general mood. I highly encourage you to watch this so that you'll know what I'm going to go over here is going to impact you. We just don't know how yet, and I'll get into that specifically with the time-stamped markers below. You'll then be able to go on and watch whatever zodiac sign you want, and that's when I will break things down into the decans, so you'll know exactly how your sun or your birth, how you are being impacted that week. And you'll see between decans, it's very different because there's a huge difference between how a square impacts somebody and how a sextile impacts somebody, how a trine impacts somebody and how a square impacts somebody. And those cause major differences. And that's why there's so much inaccuracy with those horoscopes. They're bad astrology. So we put those aside and we do this forecast based on the divine geometry. And we get into something that's a lot more accurate and a lot more true to the rules of astrology. So let's get into the big stuff from December 10th through the 16th of 2023. We have a new moon. We have two huge things that we're going to go over. First, on the 12th, we have a new moon in Sagittarius. It happens around 4:45 p.m. Central Time here in the United States. So that's like 2 or 3:45 out in California area, and out on the East Coast, that's about 5:45. That's about 12 o'clock, between 12 and 1 o'clock, Alaska, Hawaii. It's you guys are farther out there, but yeah, it happens sort of around that noon time span for us, the actual full, like the complete new moon, I should say. It's a real interesting new moon. Let's dig into it a little bit, because the new moon happens while the sun and the moon are trine to Chiron and trine to the north node, sextile to the south node. That's a lot of healing there. That's a lot of new starts and new beginning, and a lot of awakening to taking charge over and authority over yourself and your own life, and taking initiative to start something new and heal, you know, based on your scars, based on the experiences that you've had, to really be able to use that to move forward and push into the future in the direction that you guide yourself. We also, however, have a square to Neptune. This is tough energy because it's very distracting, but it can also be very creative. So it's just going to be how you use it. The distractibility is what can really challenge you. Distractions, illusions, that could be tough. And we also have, on this new moon, during this new moon, the sun and moon being in, well, hold on. Yeah, the sun and moon being in sesquiquadrate quadrate to Jupiter. And what does that mean? It just makes everything feel like it's rushing. It's bigger. It's got to expand. It's got to push. Almost like it's being pushed or too, like, not impulsive, but kind of like in a rush. It will make things feel like in a rush. And that's tough energy, especially because the next day, the next big thing happens, and that's the Mercury retrograde. Mercury's been slowing down for a while, dude. We've been in its shadow period for the past week at least. It's in retrograde as of the 13th. It goes into retrograde at 8 degrees Capricorn. It's trine to Jupiter, which is also in retrograde while it goes into retrograde. It's also sextile to Venus while it goes into retrograde. You want to know what I said? I'm about to tell you. Especially difficult to resist calling your ex. Don't do it, boo. Don't do it, but you're going to do it. I mean, Venus is in Scorpio, so this also brings up a lot of seedy, kind of taboo attraction, stuff you'd rather keep secret or hidden, but it's going to be impulsive, it's going to be indulgent. It's very indulgent, it's very decadent energy. So it's while we're in Mercury retrograde, dude, I just don't like the texting, sexting is going to be off the hook. You could also be going crazy with spending money as well, which is going to set you back. It is. You're going to want to try to control yourself as much as possible around this time, because I'm just going to say this to you. It will set you back. It will cause complications the more indulgent you are. So all week long, the sun is squared to Neptune. That's self-deceptive, but also creative. It can be a lot easier for you to believe bullshit in this energy. It could be a lot easier for you to come up with just awesome ideas as well. Let your creativity be focused into creative outlets, and don't try to get creative with reality. I mean, yeah, it's good to expand your reality, and I think that this could be actually a very expansive reality, but there's such a chance of sort of self-deception or being more easily led astray when the sun is square Neptune, especially around that Mercury retrograde point, which is speaking to indulgence and sensuality that you've repressed. There's just this energy of you might be really fooling yourself or getting lost in your dreams around that time. We also have Mercury sextile to Venus all week, including while it goes retrograde, and Mercury is trine to Jupiter all week while it goes into retrograde. This is once again talking a lot, promising a lot, being very sultry, being very communicative, being very sexual, being very sensual, being very provocative with your words. There's just this energy of kind of decadence, or maybe taking too many concessions. That kind of energy can really come out. But I tell you, it's fun. It's very, very playful energy. It's very optimistic. It's very positive. It's very playful, but there's undertones of overindulgence. Mars is doing some wonderful stuff. Mars is going to be trine to Chiron and semi-square to Pluto all week. Now, semi-square to Pluto is tough. Any challenging energy between Mars and Pluto, even if it's a minor transit like a semi-square, that's going to make everything more quick to fire and more quick to anger and go to more extremes. But you know what? That trine to Chiron is also a very grounding energy. It's just we might be insistent upon healing. We might be insistent that determination can be very good, very positive to make us catalyze our own healing, but also it might make us try to get ahead of ourselves or impose our needs onto others. Just an FYI, we also have the sun, of course, conjunct to the moon on the 12th, but it is trine to Chiron all week long. It is also trine to the north node and sextile to south node, and it is sesquiquadrate to Jupiter. We want to grow. We want to expand. We want to take more personal authority over our lives. So there is that energy of, I want to get out there on my own. Don't rush things, because Mercury retrograde can fuck you up. And Uranus is in a few tough positions as well. Technology can really go downhill, and there's a lot of solar flares. My son and I just talked about this. I'm going to do research and do a video about it. There is a lot of solar flares coming, and they could really fuck with this electromagnetic energy in the air. And during a Mercury retrograde, that's the last fucking thing you need. So it can be really intense and actually really dangerous if it interferes with major communications. Just to let you guys know, don't mess with it. Don't push it. Don't push your tech. And honestly, I wouldn't install jack shit right now. Nope, baby. Wait until the second week of January for any major upgrades or any major purchases. I'm just going to say, don't do it. Don't spend $5,000 on that new computer during a Mercury retrograde. I bought my computer during a Mercury retrograde, and I've always hated it. It's always had malfunctions that can't be explained. I just don't do it. I'm just saying, I'm gonna let you know, don't do it. Don't do it. I know that we've got to keep going. If you can, and you work in a real tech industry, I would say always have your redundancy systems online, at least one, maybe two, because you're really going to need that extra protection, especially for this first week. Just letting you know. Days of interest. Oh, let's talk about Venus a little bit. Venus is in Scorpio, making her really, really kind of taboo and obsessive and more attracted to darker, more taboo things. She's very sultry. She's very sexual and decadent in this energy. She's also very repressed in a lot of ways. So it's a difficult energy. It's like somebody who's super horny but doesn't want to be discovered. It's kind of like that energy. So let's talk about it. Venus is sesquiquadrate to Neptune. That's a challenging energy because that's a major distraction. And that's why I told you there could be so much texting from that ex, but it's based on fantasy, baby. It's not based on anything else. And then we have a sextile to Mercury, which gives you that sexy talk, flirtatious talk, romantic talk, but not necessarily stable talk. Mercury is going into retrograde. And then Venus is also in the beginning of the week opposite Jupiter. Very, very decadent, very, very indulgent, will easily overdo shit in this energy. So especially for the first couple of days during that new moon and while Mercury goes into retrograde, watch out for overspending and overindulging, and whoever's going to text you or feeling like, oh, I can just call them, it's fine. No, you can't. It's not going to be fine. I'm just going to let you know. Now, it could make your ex way more enticing than they ever were in real life, because of that distraction and over romanticism, setting us up for spending too much and indulgence. Just an FYI, especially those first 2 days, December 10th. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, up through the 12th, I would say, especially those days, the 12th, 13th. Those are 10th through the 13th, let's say. Tough days, challenging. Challenging to control yourself and to not let yourself get lost or believe in bullshit. FYI. December 16th is also a really interesting day because Venus is square to the moon and opposite Uranus. It's more toward the end of the week that Venus moves out of opposition with Jupiter in the beginning of the week, and then she sneaks into, not really sneaks, but goes into opposition with Uranus by the end of the week. Now that's going to especially cause major problems, but especially when she becomes square to the moon, which would be in Aquarius at that time. She's going to be really randy and really rebellious and want to do something totally out of the ordinary, maybe even threesomes or shit like that, and she's going to live to regret it. So be careful of this day. Be careful of this day financially, where there's like just this, there's this rub. There's this, I want to try something so different, it doesn't even have to make sense. It definitely won't last long term, whatever happens here. It's more about rebellion and just getting sick of the same old than it is about something that will last and be sustainable. Just an FYI to let you know, December 16th, tricky, moody, impulsive, rebellious day. Also, the moon in Aquarius is going to be sextile to Chiron and sextile to Mars, will intensify our ability to heal, but it's also square to Venus, which is now in opposition to Uranus, which can cause conflicts from the past, rebelliousness, and needing space, especially if you're determined to heal a situation. It could sort of catapult you or push you to finally get the fuck out of a situation that you needed to get out of for a while. Could do that. That would be very helpful. I think we're ready to go into the zodiac sign specific energies. So let's go there. Okay. Scorpio, you ready? Scorpio, let's write these time frames down, right? The timestamps. Oh, it's so hard for me to like keep track of them. What's going on in the zodiac sign of Scorpio? We have Venus, and Venus is going to be moving from between 7 and 14 degrees. We also have the moon from the 10th through the 11th, just an FYI. What is going on with Pluto? We have Pluto at 28 degrees Capricorn. It is going to be semi-square to Mars all week. This is pugilistic energy. This is, I'm ready to fight and I want to take things to the extreme. It could be extreme outbursts of anger, right? Intensity, or feeling like I have to make a decision now. You can make more permanent decisions now that are more impulsive. So if you own a gun or anything like that, I would leave it at home. Like, all I'm saying is, in this energy that only lasts for about a week, don't make permanent decisions in temporary situations because you took something to the extreme. That's what I'm going to say. We also have Mars. Mars is going to be moving, it's in Sagittarius, and it's going to be moving between 11 and 16 degrees Sagittarius. It's trine to Chiron, trine to the North Node, and sextile to the South Node. And on the 16th, it's going to be sextile to the Moon. Mars really is in the position where it wants to heal, where it really wants to move forward and open itself to opportunities. It's all about progress. But with that little semi-square to Pluto, that's all it takes. It could be so insistent on moving forward, it becomes ruthless. So just watch that energy. Let's go into the decans, shall we? If you know your natal sun, so let's go. Let's just go into it because you know your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees. Decan 1. Your natal sun is going to be conjunct Venus through the beginning of this week. Yeah. Now, if you're born around October 30th, October 31st, it's actually going to be technically conjunct to Venus all week long, even when Venus goes into about 14 degrees, well into the second decan. It's still going to be conjunct you guys, 30th and 31st babies. So this conjunction with Venus intensifies your romanticism, your sensuality, your romanticism, your creativity. It's actually very beautiful, graceful, and creative energy, but it could also give you very rose-colored glasses FYI. If you were born at the cusp, so the Libra cusp, that would be, say, October 22nd, 23rd, your natal suns are going to be semi-square Mars and the Sun, including semi-square to this new moon. Cusps are also square to Pluto. You guys especially need to watch your temper, watch your anger, or the extremes that you are willing to take things to. It is going to be especially pop-offish in you guys, and so just please be aware. You can't help what you feel, but you can help the decisions that you make, right? And if you feel yourself being driven by anger, pull the car over to the side and turn it off and take a few breaths to clear your head. Your natal suns are also sextile to Mercury all week, which is very helpful and very potent, very beautifully intellectual energy. So you'll come to conclusions very quickly. But with those other energies, you could also come to impulsive decisions quickly. And they sound intelligent because of that sextile to Mercury. Be wary. Be wary around this whole week for you guys, that you remain in control of the direction you're going instead of your impulsivity. It's very important this week. Your natal suns are also trine to Saturn, which is a stabilizing energy. It gives you a maturity about you, which can help a lot, but they're also in opposition to Jupiter, which is once again explosive and very, I want it to happen now, getting way ahead of myself. So any way that you can ground your energy to support that Saturn trine, any way you can help to just naturally calm yourself down and give yourself more patience and take more breaths, ground yourself in your breath, count to 10 before you respond to anybody. This is very important energy for you this week. Scorpio 2s, your natal suns are conjunct to Venus as of the 10th of December. That brings a very romantic, sexy, sensual, attractive energy to you. You could be all of a sudden more attractive and not even know why. It's because of Venus, baby. Definitely more graceful, more elegance, more attractiveness. Your natal suns are also quincunx to Chiron, so there could be a little bit of compromise in your self-esteem, but that conjunction to Venus should help you, but you're also in opposition to Uranus. Out of all of you, you guys have the highest likelihood of cheating, stepping outside of your relationship and succumbing to those need to break away from the norm. Right? You'll definitely want to be more experimental or get into things that are more taboo, try things you've never tried. This is just something that you should be very, very aware of. It's best in this energy to give your partner space, or be with a partner that will give you space, or a partner who's willing to try things with you. So it could actually make you closer. But be aware of this energy. And then we have Scorpio 3s. If you were born on the 12th or 13th, even though Uranus has moved back, it's retrograded back, to really be in opposition to Scorpio 2s, your natal suns, if you were born around December 12th or 13th, your natal suns are still in opposition to Uranus. So you're still wanting something different and wanting to assert your own independence and individuality, and can be easily triggered by things that you feel are expectant or kind of boring. Your natal suns are sextile to Pluto, which gives you more gravity. All of you guys are sextile to Pluto, so it actually just gives you more authority. People take you more seriously without you even having to try for it. And then if you're at the cusp, so that would be the Scorpio Sagittarius cusp. If you were born around November 20th, 21st, 22nd, your natal suns are square to Saturn. So there's a lot of restriction here. So especially for those of you born the 12th or 13th, still in opposition, your natal suns are still in opposition to Uranus. There's something rubbing there. There's like, I'm like having trouble respecting authority, or staying in the rules, or staying inside the lines, or feeling like you're always being pushed down or repressed in some way, not allowed to move forward. That's not true. The challenges are really just there to make you stronger, but it can be a lot more frustrating, and it is kind of long term. So just an FYI. And then we have, yeah, that's it. So you guys, just let me know. Just let me know. The quincunx to the North Node is longer term, but it's also kind of like knowing that you have to move forward, but it being a pain in the ass. It kind of nudging you all the time to kind of wake you up and get you out of your comfort zone. So you can make that more or less painful on yourself by opening yourself up to new experiences and trying, or at least entertaining, what is opposite to what you would normally sit in and feel comfortable in. Because it's gonna change and you're gonna be pushed in that direction, and the more God has to push, the less comfortable you're gonna be. Just an FYI. You guys let me know in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give it a big old thumbs up and share it with somebody you know would enjoy it too. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the videos. Don't forget to come over to bornwithoutboundariestarot.com to watch your week ahead tarot card reading. All right, Libra. Let's go into Libra energy. So what's going on in the zodiac sign of Libra? Not a lot. The South Node is there. It's actually going to retrograde from 23 degrees to 22 degrees. This week, it's trudging along, getting to the end of that third decan, okay? South Node is actually really conjunct my rising sign right now, but whatever. Not your concern. For those of you born in the last decan of Libra, you are dealing with a lot of stuff from your past, a lot of craziness, and a lot of ways that you might have gotten too comfortable or accepted something was true, and now it's trying to shake you, make it really uncomfortable, so you realize it wasn't true, it's just what you've been told. Now we have Venus. What's going on with Venus? A lot. So Venus is in Scorpio, and she's moving from 7 to 14 degrees Scorpio. She is sextile to Mercury all week long, and she is in opposition to Jupiter through the 14th, at which time she then becomes an opposition to Uranus. So there is just this really indulgent aspect of her in the beginning of the week, overindulgent, decadent, luxurious. But then with Uranus, it's almost like, I need to do something completely different. I need to step outside of this sort of skin that I've been stuck in. So this is very rebellious energy. It's very, I want to try something new. I want to try something different in Scorpio. That's going to be very taboo. She can get very dark here. Watch this energy. Watch it. Watch who you're getting hooked up with. Watch what you're spending your money on. Watch it. And then on the 16th, remember that Venus is going to be square to that moon. So she's going to be extra edgy on that day, extra moody, and in extra need of relief. And so she's more inclined, that energy is more inclined to be more rebellious or break out of her norm and be willing to step outside of her obligations than she normally is, especially on that day. Just an FYI. Let's see how it affects you guys individually. Decan 1, if you're, let's see, your natal suns are square to Mercury all week long, quincunx to Saturn, and quincunx to Jupiter. Bottom line, all this energy, I said, not gonna get much done this week. In fact, the tax man could come and get you. This is an energy of just sort of paperwork you haven't done, administrative duties you didn't realize about, law coming back in, or just being overrun with, inundated with all this crap you don't want to deal with because of that square to Mercury, which is now in retrograde. There's just this, and you have a quincunx to Saturn. There's just this intense energy of all the shit you've got to do piling on you this week. Self-love, self-care, whatever can help make you, put you at ease and de-stress yourself, but not in decadence, not indulgences, not the wine, not the drugs, not the sex, the salt baths, the massages, the maybe yoga classes, whatever kind of helps put your mind at ease. Get those things lined up for you this week, because it'll be important for you to surviving it. Libra 2s, your natal suns are sextile to Mars. And through the 12th, during the new moon, your natal suns are sextile to the sun and sextile to the sun. Oh no, the new moon is on the 13th, right? Yeah, so it's sextile to the sun through the 11th, I think. So, okay. This is very positive energy. It's very progressive energy. It's very certain of yourself energy. It's higher energy. So you may feel, especially in the beginning of this week, your energy being way up. But there's opposition to Chiron too. So there could also be this sense of, I need to prove myself. I need to show myself worthy. Am I worthy, right? You could be sort of trying too hard because you don't feel good enough. So really think about, what am I getting myself into, for what reasons, right? Is it to prove my worth, or because I know my worth? It's a good question to ask yourself. Because you also have a quincunx to Uranus, especially if you're born between the 9th and the 11th, 9th and the 11th of October. This could be very tricky energy, with just sort of like that thorn in your side, or that spur in your side, that's kind of like making you want something different. Irritation with the norm is going to be bigger this week, or bigger right now for you, because it's a longer term aspect. Claiming your own independence, and anything that really bugs you or makes you feel like confined, it's going to be more easily triggered right now. Let's move on to Libra 3s. So if you know that your natal sun, we all know that already. So natal sun, Libra 3s, your natal suns are conjunct to the south node in opposition to the north node. This is like a great awakening about how you have to start moving forward, and why. How you've settled. How you've just sort of accepted the facts, or let your life be what it has been made into being, instead of what you've created. So this is like a turning point in your life, or an awakening. As of the 12th, your natal suns are sextile to the sun, which means your natal suns are also going to be sextile to the new moon. This is very beautiful energy for manifesting a brand new you, a brand new life, or taking initiative to start something brand new. You'll have a lot of helpful energy helping to motivate you there. Then you have a long-term square to Pluto, which is going to make you more extreme in general. So there's a lot of extreme energy floating around this week. Take care of yourself, and take care of how extreme you allow things to get. Be aware of yourself this week. And then we have this quincunx to Neptune, which can also really frustrate you. Your fantasies could be frustrating you. You could also be feeling sick and schlocky this week, just frustrated and maybe got the flu. But it could also be that your fantasies keep interrupting your reality and making it more difficult for you to focus. That's a longer term aspect, so it's something that you have to learn to balance for now. You guys let me know down below how you felt about this energy, how you're experiencing it. And Libra, please give this video a big old thumbs up and share it with people that would love it too. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, Libra, and I will see you guys in this video. In the videos. I love you guys. All right, Sagittarius. Let's move on to Sagittarius. We have between December 10th and the 16th of 2023. What is going on in Sagittarius? Well, we've got Mars moving from 11 degrees to 16 degrees. That's going to impact Sagittarius too. It's going to bring more vitality, but also more risky and impulsive behavior to your energy. So heads up. We also have the sun moving between 18 and 24 degrees. So especially for those of you born really toward the end of the second decan, it's going to be an action-packed, very vital, energized week for you, where you could be experiencing a lot of confidence. And that's good. But Mars conjunct your sun can also be deceptive in the way that it makes you more impulsive and act first and think later. More harm can come this week than normal because of that level of impulsivity. We also have the moon traveling between the 11th and the 13th, traveling through Sagittarius. On the 12th is the new moon, which brings, especially to Sagittarian twos, this beautiful energy of newness, openness to a new beginning, a new start, and to take action to create that new start. What's going on with Jupiter? Well, it's in Taurus. It's going to move retrograde, actually, from 6 degrees to 5 degrees in Taurus. It is in opposition to Venus through the 14th. It is trine to Mercury all week long. And it is sessi-square to the, no, sesquiquadrate to the sun, which can make you want to rush things, feeling like I got to get things done. Why don't I have them already? That kind of energy, making you feel like you're in the lack or behind when you're really not. FYI, yeah, I was going to say it could also just create energy surges that are a little bit sporadic. This opposition to Venus, especially in the beginning of this week, is going to make overindulgence in spending and eating and drinking a lot more likely. A lot more likely. And since Venus is in Scorpio, overindulgence that you may eventually be ashamed of, or decadence with taboo things that can be a little bit more dangerous and risque. FYI, just an FYI. You could be into more gambling, you could be into harder sex, more drug, like watch the impulse and what you're willing to get yourself into over this, especially in the beginning of this week. Just an FYI. Let's go into the decans, shall we? So if you know that your natal sun, okay, we already went through that. So Sagittarius ones, your natal suns are conjunct the moon on the 11th. This gives a nice kind of harmony and balance to your energy. That if you're at the cusp, so that would be the Scorpio cusp, right? November 22nd, 23rd, maybe 24th, if that's your birthday. Your natal suns are sextile to Pluto, but they're also, all of you are square to Saturn and quincunx to Jupiter. Clash with emotions, mother or father, clash with a mother or father. Especially on the 11th, when the moon is conjunct your natal suns and your natal suns are in a long-term square to Saturn, your emotions are going to feel, it's going to feel like somebody's not hearing you, not respecting how you feel, pushing you down. This could cause explosive energy, especially with parental or authority figures in your life on the 11th of this month, especially those of you at the cusp who are already sextile to Pluto and a little bit more formidable. Yeah, it could get a little hairy. And that quincunx to Jupiter really does kind of agitate and make you feel like you're behind. So it just could make your whole demeanor more pushy, or more like pushing yourself even if you're not ready. Just an FYI. Sagittarius 2s, your natal sun all week long is conjunct to Mars. So it's especially you guys that have to be very, very aware of impulsivity and dominance. Your energy levels are going to be great, but you're also going to be more impulsive. So it's not the greatest time to try new sports athletic things because it could really lead, well, not necessarily lead to injury. This is definitely a time to take initiative and you'll want to be more physical. Just be aware of, am I being impulsive as well? FYI, through the 11th, your natal suns are conjunct the sun as well. So there's a lot of confidence there in the very first 2 days of this week. But there's also that semi-square to Pluto and conjunct to Mars. This is going to make you more pugilistic, get into fights more, and become more extreme when you are. So please be aware of this energy and try to ground yourself as much as you possibly can. There's a trine to Chiron, which is very healing energy that you guys have been dealing with for quite some time, healing your sense of self. But now you could try to push yourself too far, to push yourself to accept those scars. So that those scars or those lessons you've learned through your challenges, you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. And reminding yourself of that this week is going to be very helpful in all areas of your life. There's also this agitation coming from Uranus to want to change, to demand change, to get really bored with the same old. So that's been going on. That's long term as well. But with this conjunction to Mars, it's really, really tough. It's going to make you just come alive and want to push. Be wary and be vigilant. Am I ready? Ask yourself that question. It's important. Sagittarius 3s. So your natal suns are conjunct the sun as of the 11th of this week. That's going to give you a boost of confidence. That's also going to give you boosts of courage and charisma. And on the 12th, your natal suns are also conjunct this new moon. Beautiful time for you to open and expand and initiate. Sextile to Saturn, especially if you're at the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorns. That would be around, if your birthday's December, say 20th, 21st, 22nd, that's you guys. Sextile to Saturn is very productive. Over this year, though, over the year, it's been a beautiful, helpful energy. And especially now that Saturn is sextile to Jupiter as well, lots of expansion and growth can be happening, especially in your career or your maturity. You becoming your own, adult, your own person. You have a long-term square to Neptune, which is kind of going on in the background. It could also mean very creative energy, but more sleepy, more tired, more dreamy. And this trine to the North Node and sextile to the South Node is really just easing you into a comfort level with things that maybe you thought a few years ago, I wanted something different, but now you're not. And now you're going to start making decisions toward what you once thought you didn't want. But it is because it's becoming what you want, right? You're becoming more conscious of what you really desire in your life. And then if you are at the cusps of Capricorn and Sagittarius, your natal sun is also semi-square to Venus, which is going to cause a lot of friction when it comes to desires or how you look or how you feel about how you look, or it could even cause agitation within your relationships this week. It's not going to last forever, so don't let it be forever. Just calm yourself down. Self-care, self-love to help you get through this kind of agitating time. Your spouse will thank you for it. Your significant other will thank you for it. I wouldn't go on dates this week. It's not the best week for dating. Or definitely not best week for redoing your hair or anything like that. That's just a big old FYI. I love you guys, and I hope this information helps. Please let me know in the comments below how you've already felt the impact of these energies. And then, give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe over here if you have not already. I'm trying to get to 11,000 subscribers over here by the end of the year, and we've slowed down a lot on the new subscribers. So now I'm worried I'm not going to get there. Let's bulk up these subscriptions, guys. I love you so much, and I will see you in the videos. All right, so let's go on to Capricorn. Capricorn. What's going on between December 10th and the 16th in the zodiac sign of Capricorn? We have Mercury and Pluto. Pluto holds steady at 28 degrees, still conjuncting you guys, especially at the cusp, the Capricorn Aquarius cusp. But Mercury is now in Capricorn, and it's about to go retrograde. It goes retrograde on the 13th. It's not moving. Because of the retrograde, it's staying at 7 degrees. So especially those of you born at 7 degrees, between, say, 5 and 10 degrees, intense Mercury retrograde energy, it's just going to all come back to you, almost like distracting, because everything now becomes sort of disoriented in this kerfuffle of maybe information or interactions. you could really sort of be ground zero of that Mercury retrograde energy. It's very clever energy when your sun is conjunct to Mercury. But Mercury retrograde, you'll definitely be thinking or realizing things from the past. And they could be disruptive thoughts, but also write them down because they could be quite revealing as well. We got Saturn here. What's going on with your ruling dignitary, Saturn? It's in Pisces, and it's actually progressing now. So it's moving from 1 degree Pisces to 2 degrees Pisces. Go Saturn. It is square to the moon on the 11th, which can be a super more emotional, kind of frustrating, more moody day. And then Saturn is trine to Venus through the 12th. So especially in the beginning of this week, you could be a little more moody, more emotional than you normally are. There's a long-term semi-square to Chiron, which is almost egging you on in a way, making you feel like you'll never be good enough at anything, or doubt yourself more. But in some ways, it's kind of just to spur you on. It's more to keep pushing you, but just not in a comfortable way. I have to read this. I can't read this. Loose sextile to Mercury by the end of the week. By loose, I mean about a 7-degree orb, and I usually don't count them. It's really toward next week that Saturn is going to go sextile to Mercury. Toward the end of the week, it will start. This kind of is just like law piling up, admin piling up, and kind of like opportunities to like really dig in and maybe even pile up. So just an FYI. That's really next week though. And then Saturn, there is a sextile to Jupiter. I'm going to make a video of that this week. I'm going to go live and we're going to discuss it. That's really going to be pushing us through April of next year, this sextile between Saturn and Jupiter. This is productive energy. People will find a way. Where there is a will, there is a way, and it's expansive and productive. This is very helpful energy. So Capricorn. Let's go into the decans. Your Capricorn 1, your natal sun is conjunct to Mercury in retrograde. So once again, it's you guys that are kind of ground zero for this Mercury retrograde. And it could even be you that's kind of like wanting to go back and talk about something, or thinking about things that happened in the past, or realizing stuff that you forgot, putting more work on your plate, of course, or feeling like you have to say what you maybe held inside. Those kind of things could come up too. You have a long-term sextile to Saturn, which is very productive energy, especially with this trine to Jupiter, moving forward, making progress, being open to expansion. Not much expansion through January 5th because of this Mercury retrograde, but you could be learning about possibilities and educating yourself and taking in information. And that's a very important and productive work to do right now. And then a sextile to Venus in the first couple of days, making it extra sexy, extra sensual, extra flirty. Let's go on to Capricorn. Choose. Also, with that sextile to Saturn in conjunction to Mercury, in the beginning of this week, you could have some sort of breakthroughs or discoveries when it comes to information that you didn't realize or hadn't discovered, or that kind of comes back and comes in your face with regards to, I would say, money especially, but it could also be you guys are ground zero for getting those annoying texts from your exes. FYI. Let's go on to Capricorn 2s. So if you know we already went over that information. I'm just so used to saying it. Your natal suns are semi-square to Saturn, which can make you feel a little bit like just agitated and irritated when it comes to how people treat you, how much authority, personal authority that they're willing to give to you, not feeling like you have enough. You have a long-term square to Chiron, which also compromises your sense of self-esteem. And then we also have a trine to Uranus, so an openness to wanting to do things differently. So it's almost like you're being pushed out of your comfort zone, or you're being encouraged to sort of get out of your same old, same old. The sextile to Venus through the 12th is going to be really nice energy. Like, it almost helps you be more graceful and more elegant without you even noticing it, more attractive without you even realizing it. The part of it that you will realize is you could be a little bit more flirtatious, a little bit more creative, and a little bit more optimistic, which is really going to help with this other challenging energy. With that trine to Uranus, you may be willing to step outside your comfort zone a little bit more. You may be willing to try new things. Could be fun, just saying. All right, Capricorn 3. Your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Pluto. So there's an intensity to you that you're not even asking for now that's kind of cracking you open and making you change, making you who you are change. It's a metamorphosis of yourself. We have a long-term sextile to Neptune, which is very creative energy, beautiful energy that can really see beyond what has been imagined yet. A very psychic energy with those two energies working at the same time. So you could be discovering your psychic gifts, your spiritual gifts. You're also square to the nodes still, so that is a turning point in your life. And then if you're born between the 12th and the 13th, of January, your natal suns are still trine to Uranus. So there still is that energy of, I want my independence. I feel more comfortable being independent, or in situations that allow me to be independent. So you let me know in the comments below how this energy is impacting you, how you're experiencing it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it if you know somebody would love it too. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I love you guys, and I hope to see you in the videos. Okay, Aquarius. What's going on in the zodiac sign of Aquarius from December 10th through the 16th of 2023? The moon. The moon comes to visit the 15th and the 16th. There you go. Last 2 days, the moon comes to visit. So Aquarius 1 and 2, at some point the moon will conjunct your natal suns. That could make you, it usually makes you just feel more whole and complete, like more sort of on board with every aspect of yourself. What's going on with Saturn? So Saturn is in Pisces. That's your ruling dignitary. Well, your traditional ruler. So let's talk about it. Saturn is in Pisces. It's moving direct, which means it's gearing up. The law just came back online. From 1 to 2 degrees. It's going to be semi-square the moon on the 11th, which could be a kind of emotional day. A day where you might have some conflict, especially with family members. Trine to Venus through the 12th, so the beginning of this week, you'll have at least a little bit of discipline to slow us down from that decadence that Venus is getting us into for the rest of the week. Trine says a semi-square to Chiron, that's long term. So it's just kind of sort of egging you on. Those things that make you not feel good about yourself, or kind of putting a spur in your side to push you forward. There's a loose sextile to Mercury by the very end of this week. Not really going to impact you till next week. Sextile to Jupiter is really actually making everybody very productive and expansive, taking things seriously and going the distance. So that's really helpful energy. What is Uranus doing? Well, it's at 19 degrees Uranus, which means it's retrograded back into the second decan, of Taurus. It is in opposition to Venus by the end of this week. What does that mean? Things get real hairy then. Things get real tough when it comes to relationships, because you usually want to be independent. And you usually want to step outside what you have now. Now, if your spouse is willing to come along, that's great. Or they're willing to give you space and room. That's great. It's going to make you less likely to cheat or step outside of your commitments. But you're way more likely, and you're way more likely to have the impulse to feel that way. End of this week into next week especially. Let's go into the decans. Aquarius 1, your natal sun is conjunct the moon on the 15th. But it's also square to Venus through the 12th. So this could be kind of an emotional, ooey gooey, extra romantic, or you could be more extra sensitive in the beginning of this week. The square to Venus really poses challenges when it comes to how you feel about how you look, your own personal sense of self-value, as well as conflicts with finances or with your relationship. So that could make things challenging, especially through the 12th. The semi-square to Mars is worrisome because it means that you'll be more impulsive and could be more quick to anger. The semi-square to the Sun from the 12th through the 12th makes the beginning of this week especially kind of aggressive and challenged when it comes to your sense of self-esteem and your worth, and it could make you a lot more reactionary than you really have to be. So grounding yourself and reminding yourself, giving yourself some extra self-care and love is going to help a lot. There's also a square to Jupiter, which can make you more impulsive and more indulgent and exaggerate things. So, you could be more optimistic, but optimistic almost in a desperate way with all those other things backing it up. So I wouldn't make any big leaps this week. I would look to ground myself in self-love and affirmations. Just an FYI. Those indulgences that you took, being overindulgent with that square to Venus, square to Jupiter, shit could start coming back to kick you in the ass in that way too. But you're much more likely to over-exaggerate and overindulge this week because of the square to Venus and square to Jupiter. Now, let's go on to Aquarius 2. If you, Aquarius 2, you have a long-term sextile to Chiron, sort of driving you to improve yourself and the lives of others based on the challenges that you've experienced. That's long-term. This conjunction to the moon and your natal sun, it happens on the 16th, especially moody and emotional. Conflicts with conflicts with, I don't know what this is, with patience, cheating, wanting change, changing desires, feeling your desires shift, especially around the 16th. Your natal suns are square to Venus, pretty much from the 12th on. Once again, conflicts with how you feel about yourself, how desirable you feel. Decadence, indulgence, trying to make up for what you don't feel good about inside. And especially if you're born around the 9th, 10th, 11th of February, natal suns are square to Uranus still. So there's this major conflict here. You're not going to, it's like, could be conflict with your current relationship, current finances, just this sense of feeling more entitled to break out of your norm, or more pressure to do things that you haven't done before and make surprising and disruptive shifts in your life. FYI. Let's move on to Aquarius 3. Your natal suns are sextile to the sun through the 12th. This will give an extra kind of lift of confidence and charisma and courage in the beginning of the week. And then you're also sextile to the new moon on the 12th. This is a beautiful time for you to initiate something that matters to you, that will help you grow and improve upon your life. Very, very beautiful, benefic energy for you to do this under. And then you also have a sextile to the north node and trine to the south node. So you are definitely really supported right now to take initiative, especially in the beginning of this week around this new moon, to take initiative and open yourself up to newness and decide what that newness is going to be. This is a great time for you guys to change the direction or the trajectory of your life to where you want it to go instead of where it was headed. And then we have that long-term square to Uranus, but only if you're born around the 12th or 13th of February. It's because Uranus has now retrograded back into the second decan of Taurus. But you guys born around the 12th or 13th, your natal suns are still square to Uranus. So you especially are going to feel that push to change, that disruptive urge to rebel and to step outside your norm. You let me know in the comments below, guys, how this energy is impacting you. Don't forget to like this video and share it with people you know would like it too. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel. I love you guys, and I will talk to you in the videos. I'll see you guys. All right. Pisces. Let's go on to Pisces. What is going on in the zodiac sign of Pisces between December 10th and the 16th of 2023? We have Saturn actually starting to move, right? From 1 degree to 2 degree. Nice. And Neptune standing strong, holding strong at 24 degrees, so heading, it's direct now. Neptune went direct on December 6th. So Neptune is direct, Saturn is direct. They're both slowly pushing forward. Saturn we're actually starting to see move, so it's come to life. What is going on with your ruling dignitaries? Well, let's go over with Jupiter, what's going on with Jupiter. Jupiter's in Taurus. It's retrograding from 6 degrees to 5 degrees this week. It is in opposition to Venus through the 14th, which is going to make everything really decadent and overindulgent. Optimistic, playful, but like girls gone wild. And then we have trine to Mercury, which is also going to make us kind of like think big, think far, like think outside of what we're actually capable of doing, maybe even make too many promises, those sweet promises that you make on vacation kind of energy. And then this says equiquadrate to the sun could kind of make you more eager, like a feeling of eagerness throughout the week. That could make you think things aren't moving fast enough, and that's just not true. What's going on with Uranus? Well, Uranus is still in Taurus. It's retrograded back to 19 degrees Taurus, putting it in the second decan of Taurus. And then we have Uranus by the very end of this week, by the 16th, coming into opposition with Venus. And that's when things are going to get really, really, really challenging. Wait. Well, that's Uranus. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm talking about Jupiter. I went to Uranus. I apologize, Pisces. Jupiter, let's go into Neptune. I apologize. I was reading the wrong thing. So Neptune's at 24 degrees Pisces. It is sextile to Pluto and sextile to Uranus. That is generational. So it may not be really, well, it will be impacting those of you in the third decan of Pisces, definitely, because your natal suns are being impacted too. It's conjunct your natal suns. But this long-term sextile to Pluto, sextile to Uranus is all about innovation and a shift in humanity. And then we have this square to the sun, which is quite creative, but also could be quite distracting energy, where we're more willing to see things in a dream or for the dream or illusion that they want to be than what they really are. That's an FYI this week. Pisces 1, your natal suns are the ones that are conjunct to Saturn. And with Saturn just coming back online, that's going to kind of bring back your sense of personal authority. You also have a sextile to Mercury, but Mercury is in retrograde. So there's this lot of energy about maybe finding opportunities in conversations or communications that hadn't come through yet, that really, you really are just getting to now. And it could be quite productive, or learning lessons, starting to receive information that could be productive eventually. And then we have, there's definitely going to be an eloquence in speech, certainly, maybe finally getting to say something that you've needed to say and didn't have a chance to. We also have a trine to Venus through the 12th, which is very romantic energy, very graceful energy. It's kind of going to help just give you this air of attractiveness that you might not normally, might not even know it. This ease and calm, time to balance the checkbook, kind of ease out those finances, find easiness in relationships, a little bit of just sort of slack when it comes to tensions with regards to those things. And then we have a sextile to Jupiter, which is optimistic. It is expansive. It is fortunate. This is over long term. But with that sextile to Mercury too, there could be a lot of stuff coming out of your mouth or a lot of stuff that's popping out of your brain. This is a great time to receive information that you can make, that you can turn into something productive. So this is actually really beautiful energy this week. Very optimistic and progress oriented. Let's move on to Pisces 2. If you know, okay, we already did that information. Your natal suns are square to Mars, which is tough energy. It could get in the way of the energy that you have, the energy levels, but usually, well, especially in the beginning of this week when your natal suns are also square to the sun, that's going to like challenge your energy levels. You might feel like you need more rest or you don't have as much push or oomph as you usually do. Could also make you more angry and reactionary and push yourself to be more impulsive to prove yourself. Be very aware of this because it is powerful and you want to be able to manage this energy instead of it taking over you. And with Mars also semi-square to Pluto all week, there's just greater chance of taking things to the extreme and causing injury, either to yourself or somebody else. We have a sextile to Uranus, which is definitely broadening and expanding your mind, and a trine to Venus this week from the 12th moving forward is going to actually be really beautiful and relaxing when it comes to your romances and finances. But that energy in the beginning with the square to Mars and the square to the sun, it's tough energy. You'll be quicker to anger. Know this about yourself and be ready to ground yourself through your breath, through your feet in the sand or the dirt, whatever you can do to help ground yourself. Use your physical body to help ground you. What you normally do, the things you normally play. Be sure that you're active in them to sort of channel this energy into a positive direction instead of letting it overwhelm you. And then we have Pisces 3. Your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Neptune. That's been long-term. It will stay long-term. Sextile to Pluto is long-term, absolutely. If you were born March 12th or 13th, your natal suns are also still sextile to Uranus. You guys are really at ground zero when it comes to innovation. Really knowing or having your eye on, even if you're not trying, what's coming next. So I always say this to people, maybe I should put this in the big stuff. If you got Pisces friends that are born at the end of Pisces season, pay attention to what they're paying attention to, because it's like they're right tapped into that vein. So you might want to write some of this shit down or start blogging. But this week, your natal suns are square to the sun as of the 12th, and they're square to this new moon. This makes your energy around that time very challenging, very like pushed back to push forward. This sense of suddenly it becoming very clear. What you want to initiate, what you want to start, or getting really frustrated around the fact that you haven't been able to. So this is a very powerful energy for you to really focus on what's important to you and learn about what's been getting in your way so that you can fix those things and begin on them. Very frustrating energy, and that could really culminate to a very frustrating couple of days this week. It could make you feel, with that square to the sun, all week long, challenged. Like your self-esteem is challenged, your confidence is challenged. Maybe a sense of giving up hope or having trouble with your sense of self-esteem. This is a good energy, especially in the beginning of this week, to involve yourself engage in self-care. Self-care and self-love. Even take a few days off if you need it. Help yourself. I love you guys, and I hope you've enjoyed this this reading. If you have, please remember to like it and share it with people you know would like it as well. And then definitely subscribe to this channel, Pisces, so that you know when I upload your favorite content. Hopefully, I will see you guys in the videos. All right. So we move on to Aries. Aries energy. So what's going on in the zodiac sign of Aries between December 10th and the 16th? We have Chiron at 15 degrees Aries, conjuncting Aries 2s, making you very highly aware of the way that you have been recreated by the challenges in your life and how you are inspired to push forward because of them. The North Node is going to be conjunct to Aries 3. It is retrograding from 23 degrees to 22 degrees. This is all about personal authority, personal decisions, like personal independence and the creation of your conscious life, making conscious efforts to move forward or direct yourself into your own personal authority as opposed to slacking off from where you came from, your own identity, your own individuality. Being more comfortable taking initiative and being singular. We have Mars, that's your ruling dignitary in Sagittarius, moving between 11 and 16 degrees. He's very active this week with a semi-square to Pluto and a trine to Chiron. This is about feeling pressured to heal old wounds or not taking any guff based on your acceptance of what you've been through into your nature, into who you are now. So let's see how this is impacting the decans. Your Aries 1, your natal suns are going to be square to Mercury retrograde. They're also semi-square to Uranus. For you guys especially, watch out for tech interference. I actually texted my son. I was like, because he flies planes and he's a Cancer 1. And I got to tell you, he's in opposition to Mercury retrograde and semi-square to Uranus. So this is not the best time, because there are solar flares causing electromagnetic. Always have your redundancy systems on board. Have at least one, best to have two. Definitely, this is a time to back up and support your work because tech issues are very likely. Cusps only, so that would be Aries that are born in March, say March 22nd, 23rd. Your natal suns are also sextile to Pluto, so everything is going to be more pushy or insistent from you. You do have this energy, this authority where people will follow. So, but like, watch it this week when it comes to tech. That's all I have to say. The sextile to Pluto really isn't impacting you that much this week. It's really those interferences with tech. You're not going to be able to stop them, but try to prevent them or have everything backed up. Just FYI. Definitely don't buy a new computer or spend your money on a new car this week. Please don't do stupid shit like that, because you will be unhappy with that technology from here on out. I promise you. Don't sign contracts, don't sign mortgages, put important conversations and tests off till next week, and basically back up use those redundancy systems, back your work up. Very important this week, Aries 1. Aries 2, your natal suns are conjunct to Chiron. So you are really dealing with that inspiration that comes from the challenges that you've suffered. Your natal suns are also trine to Mars. Combine this, and you're also trine the sun through the 11th. So especially in the very first 2 days of this week, there is an energy of healing about you, especially healing your physical self, your physical body. You also have a quincunx to Venus, so there could be agitation coming from your relationship, your desires, or your financial situations. But there is a sextile to the moon on the 16th. This is a very big day for you. This sextile to the moon, we've talked about that in the big stuff. It's on the 16th. The moon is in Aquarius, sextile to Chiron and to Mars. It will intensify our ability to heal. It will intensify your ability to heal and just to have some more connectivity to your feelings, your emotions, and your instincts when it comes to healing and accepting emotions, right? And not feeling intimidated by them and allowing them to flow. Let's move on to Aries 3. Aries 3, your natal sun is trine to the sun from the 12th on. That is going to give an easement to how you feel about yourself, your sense of being seen, of who you are. That's a really beautiful energy. You're also going to be trine to the new moon. So ask for what you wish to receive. Take the initiative to open yourself up and sort of relax yourself into a new beginning. If you're beginning anything new this week, it's actually going to really help you to ease into it and kind of bless the process from that point on. Your natal suns are also in a long-term square to Pluto, which means a lot of life changes, but less tolerance and more extremes. So it's more important for you to kind of like chill out your mind every once in a while. You're also conjunct to the North Node, which means I want to do this by myself. I want to decide my life, and I want to take myself into the direction that I decided, instead of and being more repulsed by where you came from and how you used to be. Not that you're repulsed by it, but that you want to move forward, you want to move on, and you want to establish yourself, Aries 3. So you let me know in the comments below how this is impacting you guys, how you're experiencing this energy. Definitely give us a thumbs up and share this video with people you know would like it too. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe here on Astrology Motivation. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos. Let's move on to Gemini. So Gemini, what's going on in the zodiac sign of Gemini between December 10th and the 16th of 2023? Good question. Nothing. But something huge is happening to Mercury retro. Mercury is your ruling dignitary. It kind of spices up your life. Wherever you are, it kind of seasons whatever you're experiencing. Mercury is going into retrograde on the 12th. It's at 8 degrees Capricorn, and you guys are going to feel this one because Mercury is trine to Jupiter and sextile to Venus when it happens. Extreme promises, indulgences, indulging yourself in what you're promising. This is a great time for learning, for taking in information. Beautiful and inspirational, inspiring information can come in now. But oh my God, the words. You could have an opportunity. There could be something that finally is able to come out, finally being able to be expressed. That could be nice. But mostly it's just what I wish I would have said. You know, yeah. Kind of real crazy energy. So let's go on to the decans. Gemini 1. Your natal suns are semi-square to Chiron and square to Saturn. So this is long term, but it's tough energy. It's just resistance. It's feeling like, why is everything so fucking difficult? It is. It's a tough year. It's a tough year when it comes to rules, regulations, getting everything in order. It's tough. It's tough because it's strengthening you, and you will come off on the other side so much stronger and more mature. But yes, quite the frustrating year in general. We also have a quincunx to Mercury, which is retrograde, which means, oh my God, it's going to fucking irritate the crap out of you and maybe even make you kind of spew more than you want to. And then a quincunx to Venus as well through the 12th. So in the beginning of this week especially, just irritating energy of just not feeling like anything is valued, like anything is right, not getting your words out, saying things that irritate people, things irritating you. Don't change your hair. Don't try to have any, don't change your aesthetics. Don't make any promises. This is a challenging fucking week for you, especially because it's exacerbated by that long-term semi-square to Chiron, square to Saturn. This is a fucking frustrating week. If I could take the week off, I would fucking take the week off. It's not that anything bad's gonna happen, but it's just gonna be like, why is everything going wrong and blowing up in my face? It's that kind of energy. FYI, self-care and grounding are very important for you this week, to realize it's just a fucking week. And by March of next year, all this shit, especially the square to Saturn, is going to be past too. This is just an agitated, irritated week. Gemini 2. Your natal suns are sextile to Chiron, so there's like a lot of inspiration to change your world based on the shit you've been through. Teach your world about or through all the shit that you've been through. Teach them how to avoid it themselves. Like, there's just this overwhelming inspiration here that's helping you heal as well. By the 13th, your natal suns are quincunx to Venus. This is really frustrating energy when it comes to finances, irritation when it comes to the way you look, your hair days, your aesthetics, feeling valued. Not the greatest week for money. Could just be a lot of little irritations along the way. Your natal suns are also in opposition to Mars, and through the 11th, the first 2 days of this week, they're in opposition to the sun. Especially the first 2 days of this week, but with that lasting opposition to Mars all week, this could be fucking dangerous energy. It's very impulsive, and you're much more quicker to anger. You're much quicker to get into fights, including verbal fights. Impulsive and reactionary, hot-headed and violent are all adjectives I'd use to describe Sun in opposition to Mars. Watch out. Your likelihood for injury goes up. It's very, very, very important this week for you to ease yourself down and get that energy out in a positive and clarifying way. Whether that's through meditation, salt baths, some kind of relaxation energy, all of that is very, very important for you this week to calm your nerves and remain in control of your energy levels. As long as you're driving the car, it's good. But if you get reactionary, it can go very bad very quickly. Let's move on to Gemini 3s. All right, Gemini 3s. Your natal suns are in opposition to the sun from the 12th on. This could challenge the way that you feel about yourself and make you more think you need to like prove yourself more, egotistical challenges, that kind of energy. Difficult, but it will only last a week. Your confidence levels as well as your overall energy levels could be impeded by this. You might feel like you have to push harder than normal. Your natal suns are also in opposition to this new moon on the 12th. So it could be that you're feeling like you're being forced into a new beginning that you're not happy with. Open yourself up for the possibilities of it, where the universe is trying to lead you and what it's trying to teach you. Your natal suns are also sextile to the North Node and trine the South Node. So there is this push toward changing your life, changing newness. Could be the frustration around the beginning of this week comes from not feeling like there's any new stuff happening and feeling like that's being impeded. This semi-square to Neptune can make you exacerbate what's going on and trust delusions more than reality. Very creative energy, but also could be very distracting. That's long term. Also, we have this long-term trine to Saturn if you're at the Gemini Cancer cusp. And that is birthdays around the June 20th, 21st, 22nd. That's you guys. Trine to Saturn is really just kind of easing things out when it comes to rules, laws, regulations, your personal, your own personal authority, your career, the stuff that like feeling really comfortable with what you've built and what you're creating. This just tends to be a very frustrating week where you can feel like everything is set upon you and feeling like aren't getting what you want, like an unsatisfied energy. It is a good week for self-care. This opposition to the new moon is just this energy of, I think it will maybe help point out exactly where the newness is, that what's lacking, like what you're trying to welcome into your life that is lacking. This sort of overall, I don't want to say emptiness, but yeah, emptiness. Yeah, not the I would say not the easiest week overall for you guys. especially troubles and feeling challenges with your self-esteem. Just an FYI, it's a good week for self-care and the reminder of your accomplishments, what you've created and what you're capable of. So Gemini, you let me know in the comments below how this energy is impacting you. And definitely, if you know somebody who would enjoy these videos, please do share it with them. Give it a big old thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe before you log off. I love you guys, and I will talk to you. I'll see you in the videos. Bye. Taurus. All right, so let's see what's going on in the zodiac sign of Taurus between December 10th and the 16th of 2023. We have Jupiter, and it is still in retrograde, retrograding from 6 degrees to 5 degrees. So it is definitely conjunct those of you who are have your birthdays, your natal suns are in the first decan. That's going to bring an energy of almost big-headedness, grandiosity, definitely optimism, and like a drive to get things done, but also expectations that they just are done, even just because you thought of them. And it can make you get ahead of yourself, just an FYI. We also have Uranus at 19 degrees, which means it has retrograded all the way back into the second decan of Taurus. So those of you in the second decan of Taurus, you might be feeling a little bit more like you want to change things up, like suddenly your life isn't as fulfilling as you remember it, that you might want to try new things or step outside of what is expected of you. Also, you might want to claim or declare more of your independence. Now, those of you who are really going to be affected by this is those of you who are born at the end of the second decan, so between the 9th and the 11th of May primarily, but you guys have already been feeling this anyway. The fact that it's gone retrograded back all the way into the second decan, however, puts it into a loose conjunction with everybody in the second decan again. And so there just might be more of an awakening or a reminder of, I need to be more me, I need to be more independent. What's going on with Venus? Well, she's actually very active this week. She is in Scorpio, which gives her a very intense air, obsessive even, controlling, not too comfortable with her tender feelings, but more turned on by very taboo energy. We have Scorpionic energy, so that's the Scorpionic energy. She's going to move between 7 degrees and 14 degrees Scorpio. She is sextile to Mercury all week long, and she is in opposition to Jupiter through the 14th of this week. So most of this week, and then at the very end of this week, she's going to be in opposition to Uranus. Now, in opposition to Jupiter, it's just decadence and indulgence and sort of exaggeration and luxuriating. It's very optimistic and very fun, but it's almost like Girls Gone Wild. If you never know the videotape, like that's what it is. Once she goes in opposition to Uranus, that can be very disruptive, especially to long-term relationships where your relationship has gotten stale or turned boring, will really be amplified and start to agitate you a great deal at that point. When Venus is in opposition to Uranus, there is more likelihood of cheating, of wanting something that you haven't had before or haven't tried before. The sextile to Mercury is actually very creative energy. It really helps you to express yourself in a very graceful way, so that should be very helpful. It could also be very poetic and musical. Lovely, lovely energy. Let's go into the decans, Taurus. Decan 1, so Taurus 1, your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Jupiter. They're also trine to Mercury. Mercury is still going into retrograde, though. The fact that this won't impact you as much because while the trine is happening is great, but it's still happening. You also are in opposition, your natal suns are in opposition to Venus through the 14th of this week, which means you could have self-esteem issues, especially when it comes to your looks. Not a great time to get a makeover or redo the house. There will always be aesthetic glitches during this energy. Also just a sense of something rubbing you the wrong way or agitating you when it comes to especially finances. You can run into finances. Anything that you think gives you value can now come into conflict. And then we have a sextile to Saturn, which really does help to ground you out. Over the year, it should have helped you expand or really solidify your own sense of self, your maturity, and even your career. I put this a note for you guys. Exes return, or they look better than they really should. So be wary of that. Because of that trine to Mercury in retrograde and that opposition to Venus, you could all of a sudden be remembering things the way they weren't, right? And have these peaceful energy, these peaceful memories of things that really weren't wonderful. Just an FYI. Let's move on to Taurus 2s. Your natal suns are now conjunct to Uranus. The conjunction to Uranus is going to disrupt your norm. It is going to make you kind of want something outside of what you're used to, and it's going to make you very agitated when people sort of think they know you, or anytime people are like, oh yeah, I know what you want, you're going to be like, instead of being like, oh yeah, you know me, you're going to be like, that's actually irritating, maybe I wanted something different. You'll start to feel that a lot more now because of sort of proclaiming your own sense of self, or even what you've always wanted to be, and especially those things that you never got a chance to do. They might come to light more now as something that you really want to try. Since this is a longer term aspect, just be aware of that. You have a quincunx to Mars and a quincunx to the Sun through the 12th. So only the first couple of days of this week is your natal Sun quincunx the current Sun. But it's also quincunx Mars all week. So I'm telling you this because even though they're minor aspects, the two of them together could cause great conflict and could cause you to anger more quickly, more rapidly, and be more impulsive, which could lead to hairier, more difficult, and even quasi potentially dangerous situations. So this is a good time to do anything, put into place any strategy that helps to calm you. Meditation, breath work, grounding, putting your feet in the soil, on the sand, anything that helps you ease things out, because you will be a little quick triggered, rapid fire this week. Also from the 12th from the 13th forward, your natal suns are also going to be in opposition to Venus. So now we can have conflict, and now we can have conflict with how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about how people value us. And with those quincunxes with Mars and the Sun, there could be a lot of outbursts or becoming very self-defensive this week. So anything you can do to ease out that energy and remind yourself of your value, including mantras like you are beautiful, you are successful, you are worthy. Every morning, look in the mirror like Billy Crystal on SNL, you look marvelous. Do those affirmations just to help support you at a time when you'll need it a little bit more. Let's move on to Taurus 3. So if your birthday is between the 12th and the 13th, your natal suns are actually still conjunct to Uranus. They're in a very tight conjunction to Uranus. They're within 5 degrees. So I would say this to you, you've been dealing with this for a while. It's just things haven't changed for you, whereas other Taurus 3s, Uranus has moved retrograded a little bit too far out to really be impacting their natal suns. You guys, you'll still have that impact of Uranus, but you have a long-term sextile to Neptune and long-term trine to Pluto. So there is a lot of shift and unpredictability about you and who you are or how you see yourself now. And over the next couple of years, that's going to continue to transform who you are and how you see yourself. There's also a sextile to the Sun all week long. Quincunx to the Sun and a quincunx to the new moon. So there could be a lot of frustrations with regards to feeling forced to start something new, or realizing I really have to get going on doing something new. And that agitation will kind of spur you to recognizing that you need to begin this new thing. Whether it's good timing or not, something's got to give. So especially around that time, it can be quite more emotional, more frustrating energy for you, FYI. It could also, though, clarify for you what you want to change and what you would like to start manifesting into your life. And of course, new moons are always powerful times for that. Let me know if this information has helped you, and if you think somebody else would dig it, please share it with them so they can enjoy it too. Give it a thumbs up before you log off. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos. Okay, Cancer. Let's go on to Cancerian energy. What is happening in the zodiac sign of Cancer between December 10th and the 16th of 2023? Nothing. No big things are happening in Cancer. No planets or even luminaries. The moon isn't going to even be there. So what's happening with the moon? Well, the moon is very active this week because we know there's a new moon in Sagittarius on the 12th. Excuse me. The moon is going to be moving between Scorpio and Aquarius. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it, but this morning I woke up to the most beautiful image of the moon and Venus in perfect alignment in the sky, because the moon is in Scorpio right now. She was just such a bright, beautiful morning guest. It was so gorgeous. I woke up early this morning, so I was out around 6 o'clock in the morning before sun had risen, and it was just so beautiful. So if you get a chance, try to look for it tomorrow night as well. The new moon on the 12th is trine to Chiron, trine to the North Node. That's about healing. Healing so that you can move forward and really feel regenerated into the new version of who you are based on your awakenings and your challenges in life and what you've learned from them. It's also square to Neptune, which can also be very psychic, very dreamy, distracting, and illusionary. We also have a sesequiquadrate to Jupiter, so there will be this push to getting things done. Even though we may not feel it says ready, we're kind of like pushing ourselves. Before that, however, on the 10th, the moon is going to be trine to Neptune and semi-squared to Mercury and opposite Uranus. This could be a challenging day because Mercury is going into retrograde soon. A very challenging day for communications, for being able to express yourself, and for technology, because the moon is like right in the middle of that trine to Neptune, feeling like things are all good and blah, 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 but then technology comes and bites you in the ass. So just an FYI that the intellectual real world might be clashing with your fantastical world. However, it is a great day for innovation and inspiration. So definitely write things down, ideas that come to you that day. It's just a very inspirational day. On the 11th, the moon is going to square Saturn and quincunx Jupiter. So this is a complicated day. It's a day where you'll feel really restricted from doing what you are supercharged to do, and could cause a lot of frustration on that day. But the 12th, we have the new moon, so hopefully some breakthroughs, right? And then on the 13th, the moon will conjunct Mercury retrograde, giving a very nostalgic energy. Trine to Jupiter and sextile to Saturn might bring a little bit of optimism back into your energy. And then we have on the 14th, a trine to Uranus and a square to Chiron, which will inspire innovation, especially where we see that we've had too many challenges to keep things the same. And then we have on the 15th, the moon conjuncts Pluto, always an intensely emotional time. Square to Jupiter is once again this energy of kind of dreaminess and frustration based on where you've expected to be versus where you are. So recognize that. If you just look around at where you are, it might be better off than comparing to where you thought you should be. And then we have on the 16th, see big stuff. So I already went over this in the big stuff. Let's review. On the 16th, the moon is in Aquarius. And mid-Aquarius, it suddenly becomes sextile to both Chiron and Mars. So there becomes this energy of really being able to incorporate and find a chance to confront old injuries. This is a very healing energy. It will intensify our ability to heal. Now, simultaneously, on the 16th, Venus, the moon is going to be square to Venus. So there is this energy of sort of conflict, ways that especially your love life or finances have left you down, the ways in which you have felt compromised in your value. Venus is also going to, at that point, going to be in opposition to Uranus. A lot of this conflicts from the past, rebelliousness, needing space, it's kind of helping to push us forward, those places where we just don't want to be anymore, where we don't feel valued. And I would think we would get a real super reactionary kind of reactionary reaction when it comes to that day. What basically becoming really clear of what I don't give a shit about anymore because it doesn't value me, so I don't value it. Kind of willing to be over and take energy to do things differently. And put your energy into doing things differently. Just an FYI. You'll be willing to and emotionally capable, emotionally charged to make some important decisions that day about moving forward. Let's go on to the decans. So Cancer 1, your natal sun is sextile to Jupiter and trine to Saturn. These are long-term energies of progress and advancement. So over the next couple of months, right up through March of 2024, this is very helpful energy, especially for your career. But this week is quite the clusterfuck because you guys, especially if you're like not near the cusp, more like maybe July, like June 26th, 27th, 28th, that kind of energy, you guys especially are in are semi-square to Uranus. Everybody, all of you are in opposition to Mercury. You guys especially later on in the first decan are also semi-square to Uranus. Watch out for fucking technology just fucking you this week. I'm just letting you guys know. There could be a lot of conflicts and a lot of pain in the ass things that happen because especially you have the opposition to Mercury, but with you guys, that semi-square to Uranus too is going to be a real pain in the ass with advanced technology. If you use GPS systems, if you use satellite systems, if you use any advanced tech, please make sure that your redundancy systems are online. Check them twice. Don't just have one, have two, because I guarantee you crap is going to crap out this week. So please be wary. Your natal suns are also trine to Venus through the 12th. So there's a lot of beautiful positive energy that trine to Venus is also very optimistic, very lovely, very romantic, happy times there through the 12th. But the conflict with all this other stuff, watch the tires in your car, watch the automatic braking system, watch all those things. Don't take anything for granted this week. Let's move on to Cancer 2s. Your natal suns are now sextile to Uranus. So there is this energy of innovation about you right now. Your natal suns by the 13th are going to be trine to Venus. So there's also very romantic energy about you. And during this energy, you could be starting to be attracted to things or find value in things that you haven't before that could actually surprise you, but maybe you need the surprise. And then we have a long-term square to Chiron, which is generating this whole year's worth of why is everything so fucking difficult? That's okay. We're learning to live with it, live through it. But there's also a quincunx to Mars, which could make you more reactionary and more excitable. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, especially with the sextile to Uranus and trine to Venus. But ultimately, you might jump into things more quickly than you normally would. Just an FYI. Let's move on to Cancer 3s. So Cancer 3s, your natal sun is in opposition to Pluto. It is trying the nodes. This has been and will continue to be, especially for the next couple of months, while the nodes are also square to your natal suns. a transitional period in your life where you really start to see dynamic changes in what you care about and how you want to live. Then we also have a quincunx to the sun from the 12th on. This could cause some conflict, more insecurities, and overcompensation with more ego, which could also cause some more conflict. So be aware of that. There's also this quincunx to the new moon. So almost feeling like you've got to do something new, you want to do something new, but maybe there's conflict there. At least it clarifies how much you really want this new start and what you really want to begin. And so focusing on what you really want to begin and initiate is really good around this new moon phase for you. But you're going to kind of come to those conclusions through frustration more than anything else. And then we have a trine to Neptune, which is long-term. It's extraordinarily creative and innovative and will continue to help guide you, especially spiritually and psychically, knowing which way to turn so that your life can be fulfilling. You let me know if all this energy all these messages have helped you. Definitely leave comments below. Don't forget to like this video and share it with people you know would enjoy it as well. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Please subscribe to this channel and help us grow. I love you guys, and I will see you in the videos. Let's move forward to Leo. Okay, Leo. So what is going on in the zodiac sign of Leo between December 10th and the 16th? Nothing. No big things. No big luminaries. Not even the moon comes to visit. No major planets. It's kind of a dead zone for us in these winter months. So it is what it is. What's going on with the sun, though? Well, the sun is in Sagittarius. It's moving as expected, 18 degrees to 24 degrees. But there is a new moon. So it is conjunct to that new moon. That's why a moon happens, because it's conjunct to the sun. So remember that new moon, as well as the sun, all week long is going to be trine to Chiron, which is very healing energy. Self-actualization, self-acceptance, self-realization, and motivation from where what you've been through. Sort of like a harmony with your troubles and your struggles. The sun is also square to Neptune, which is very creative energy. It's very inspired energy. But it could also be very distracting energy, especially where and how you see yourself in the world, right? So do a double check, especially now that Mercury is in retrograde, that you're getting the messages straight. It just is a service you could do to yourself this week. It'll help you. That you're not reacting more emotionally than you are realistically. The sun is also going to be sextile to the south node, opportunities coming from just talents and stuff that you know you can do well. Trine to the north node, which will help open you up to trying different things, right? Or even open up different opportunities for you to strive for. And then we have this says a square, that's what I call him. It is says a square to Jupiter. Now, says a square to Jupiter, between Jupiter and the sun, is getting ahead of yourself. So you can almost feel like expectant and more entitled this week. So be sure to slow yourself down, check things twice, be sure that they align with what you know and understand, as opposed to what you desire or have just imagined or heard of. It's good to recheck, especially for you guys because of the sun, what the sun is going through. It's good for you to just check, did I really interpret that correctly? Because I could easily interpret it wrong this week. But it is a wonderful day on the 12th, on the new moon, for you to open yourself up to receiving just beautiful new energy and to initiate things, start something new on this day. It will have the blessing of Sagittarius energy, which is just luck and fortune. So definitely put your manifestations out there. Let's go on to the decans, shall we? Leo 1, if you're at the cusp, so your birthday is around July 2nd, July 22nd, July 23rd, your natal suns are conjunct to Pluto and square the nodes. This is a very transitional period in your life over the next couple of years because of that conjunction to Pluto, definitely through next year. But right now, with that square to the sun, it will be especially intense, where you start to notice that you are wanting things that were opposite from what you ever thought you wanted. There's also a square to Jupiter now. There is a quincunx to Saturn and a square to Venus through the 12th. So especially during the beginning of this week, you can easily get ahead of yourself, expect too much, and run into conflict with rules, laws, regulations, or authority figures, right? It's just going to be a very frustrating energy for you. So it's best to calm yourself down, express gratitude for what you have, and try using what you have to reach your goals, as opposed to expecting more. It's not that you shouldn't want more in your life or strive for more, but the expectation could really get in your way this week. Let's move on to Leo 2. So your natal suns are square to Uranus now. They are square to Venus from the 13th on. That's conflict in relationships. That's going to really make a kind of agitation in the same old, same old. And if any part of your relationships have gotten dull or stalled, they will cause a lot of frustration for you this week until you do something to fix them. This is the most likely energy for you to cheat or step out of your relationship. I'm not saying that you will, but this energy is all around you to test the boundaries and rebel against stagnation in those areas of your life. So just an FYI, you are also trying to Chiron, so there's a very healing energy. Trine to Mars, and through the 11th, you're also trine to the Sun. So there is a bunch of confidence and this sort of self-assurance. So there seems to be like an awakening into what doesn't suit you anymore and what you really want to change. And so it could cause a great deal of conflict especially if you're in a relationship that has not been satisfactory to you. Just an FYI. Let's move on to Leo 3s. Leo 3s, your natal suns are from the 12th on trine to the sun, and they are trine to the new moon. This is a beautiful and blessed energy where you will know what you want and feel very peaceful with what you need in your life. It's a great time to start manifesting it or take action to begin those processes. Your natal suns are in a long-term square to Uranus, especially if you're born between the 12th and 13th of August. Square to Uranus. I'm sorry. If you're born between the 12th and 13th of August, your natal suns are square to Uranus still. So there is still that challenge that I want independence, I want something unique. The rest of you, Uranus has retrograded too far back. So you'll feel a little bit of easement in that energy. But there's also a quincunx to Neptune and a quincunx to Pluto. So you definitely want change and innovation in your life right now. This is a beautiful week for you to initiate and start getting it. You'll know exactly what that is, and it's a wonderful chance for you to expand and really use that beautiful Sagittarius energy to connect you with the fortune of Jupiterian energy to really start to move something forward or have an inspired start, get an inspired start to something. So I would definitely I would definitely begin something in this energy that matters to you. And I think it will be very clear, especially for those of you born around the 12th or 13th, where you feel stagnated and where you want the innovation in your life. All right, guys. So if you love this reading, please like it. Share it with people you know would love it too. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet subscribed. I love you guys, and I will see you in the videos. Bye. All right, Virgo. All right, Virgo. So what is going on in the zodiac sign of Virgo between December 10th and the 16th of 2023? Nothing. There's not even the moon is coming to visit. There's no big energies that are in Virgo right now. But what's going on with Mercury? Because we know that what's going on with Mercury is pretty darn big because it's going into retrograde on the 12th. So it goes into retrograde at 8 degrees Capricorn. It's going to retrograde quickly to 7 degrees Capricorn. It is trine to Jupiter and sextile to Venus while this happens. It stays trine to Jupiter all week long, and the sextile to Venus ends on the 14th. So most of the time, I will tell you this, you're going to really be romanticizing the past. You know, like giving people credit for maybe things that they don't deserve as much credit for. This is definitely the return of the ex's energy. You'll be happier than you should be to see them or talk to them. You also may feel inspired because you are ruled by Mercury. You might feel inspired to reach out yourself or say a bunch of romantic things that you wish you got a chance to say. They may feel good in the moment, but they really won't come to much. So if you're using them for catharsis and closing things out, that's great. But if the expectation is that this will really propel you into the future, not so much, not during a Mercury retrograde. Just to let you know, enjoy it while it lasts, because nothing really written or created or spoken during Mercury retrograde really holds or roots itself very deep. Just an FYI. Let's go on to the decans, shall we? So Virgo ones, your natal suns are trine to Mercury in retrograde, which will ease it up and not make it so intensely horrible for you. But because you're also trine to Jupiter, you might be particularly and more easy than you should be with talking to the exes, texting them back, or texting them initially. FYI, you could have fun with it, but not much is going to come from it. There's also a sextile to Venus through the 12th, so especially in the beginning of this week, expect that you will be over-romanticizing things and craving those nostalgic past, right? But you're not remembering them clearly. I can promise you that. There's also an opposition to Saturn, so you're going to be inspired by feeling like you can't. Anything, it's like oppositional behavior disorder. Anything that says you can't, well, then I want to do. And that could push you even deeper into texting somebody who will feel good in the moment, but it will not be anything long lasting. I'm going to just leave it there. Let's go on to Virgo 2. Your natal suns are sextile to Venus from the 13th of this week forward. That is a beautiful and romantic energy. It's very ooey gooey and beautiful. It could also bring a lot of financial opportunities or opportunities to date. Dating during a Mercury retrograde, especially ruled by Mercury, isn't a great idea, but you will have a good time with that sextile to Venus, just to let you know. There is a square to Mars. So that could also cause a lot of reactionary energy, and you'd be quicker to anger or quicker to jump into something that is not thought through. So your brain isn't exactly as accurate and acute as it normally is, Virgo 2s. So just know that you could be acting more on sexual desire and impulse than you are on things actually making sense this week, just to let you know. Through the 11th, the first 2 days of this week, your natal sun is also square to the sun. So any kind of conflict when it comes to low self-esteem could also kind of challenge you and lead you to react to things that you normally wouldn't react to, or behave in ways you normally wouldn't behave. We have a trine to Uranus, so you're very comfortable with stepping outside of the norm. You kind of want to. And that quincunx to Chiron is also, it's long term, but it's also making you extra frustrated and feeling like you just don't want things to be difficult anymore. So you, I think, are at a really particular vulnerable stage this week with feeling comfortable with what you know versus what's actually really good enough for you. Just know that this week, and before you get into any circumstance or situation. Anybody that sort of strokes your ego this week could get a lot farther than they actually deserve. Just an FYI. And then we have Virgo 3. So Virgo 3, from the 12th on, your natal sun is square to the sun, which means it's also square to the new moon. This is a very challenging energy of a new beginning or new start, and you could feel yourself being pushed into growing or expanding or diversifying in ways that you don't feel ready for. Honor that feeling, but at the same time, question, why aren't these opportunities? Is it just because I'm emotionally reacting that these opportunities aren't looking good to me? Because that challenge could really guide you to understand something about yourself, about how you see who you are. Because it is a really wonderful time to initiate something around a new moon. You might just have trouble asking for it. Don't. Take a leap of faith. Ask and do. Then we have that trine to Pluto, which is making you want a change. It's not like Uranus. It's like, I want to be different, right? Easing like this intensity about your energy, even this psychic energy that can be really churning in you right now, is really kind of broadening who you are. So this new moon, it's kind of weird energy because of that square to it. Why aren't I ready? Why aren't I ready? That's what you'll be asking yourself on the new moon. Why aren't I ready when I know I want it? It's a good question. I would try to manifest. I would really just trust I would try to trust the energy and try to manifest it anyway. Like use your manifestation energy during the new moon. Use the manifestation opportunity during the new moon. You'll be happy that you did, even if it gets off to a slow start. There's also a long-term opposition to Neptune, which you've been dealing with for a while. It shouldn't cause any major conflicts, but over the next couple of years, it could spur more creative energy as well as more distractible energy. If you were born around the 12th or 13th of September, your natal suns remain trine to Uranus. So you guys, even though you're in the third decan, your natal suns are still going to be trine to Uranus. So there is still going to be that energy of playfulness, rebellion, and innovation that is all about you right now. So you let me know in the comments below how you've experienced this energy, Virgo. I'd love to know. And if you love this reading, please remember to share it with somebody you know would love it too. Give us a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe here on Astrology Motivation. I love you guys. Now, for all of you, if you know anything about Born Without Boundaries Tarot, come on over. I'm doing a membership drive today. I'm doing a membership drive on Sunday to sign up members for my BWOB membership, which now includes full access, unlimited access to the extended readings, all the extended readings. It's really cheap. It's only $14.99 a month. You get a lot of add-ons that have been there for a while, but I'm just adding the extended readings on top of that. And my goal is 1,000 members or bust. So we're going to see how many people we can sign up today. I love you guys so much, and I hope to see you there. Bye.